Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Negative Alpha Bravo. And this is 7 November Golf. Roger, request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out. And 8 Claw, 7 November, say again. 7 November, go. I copied a while ago, 1 Charlie transmission that my thing used, and 8 5, this is 7 November, Charlie. Thanks, 5 right now. Now 1 Charlie, 7 November, go.
This is 1 Charlie, in reference to your last, you're Brandon, what you did at the box side tonight with 1200 between teams, that's local. Also request your unit to take down records to see if we can try to get 59 and 8 for pause with the playground.
And this is 7 November, Roger, stand by.
Got that.
Got it? Alright. And all units, this is 7 November Golf, my unit Alpha, Echo, X-ray Alpha Alpha in there.
One Charlie, Alpha Bravo.
Yeah, I never took a dip. I forgot to take a dip.
Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9, Yankee, 7 November Golf, over.
This is Whiskey 9, go.
Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9, Yankee, 7 November Golf, over.
This is Whiskey 9, go.
Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Negative Alpha Bravo. And this is 7 November Golf. Roger, request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out. And 8 Claw, 7 November, say again. 7 November, go.
All right, welcome back to another stream. This is my second time doing live free consultation one-on-one. There's a lot we can't get into, but at a bare minimum, I can give you my initial thoughts. The first time I did this was pretty good. We had a good turnout. We're doing this again. The deal is the veteran will have to answer these questions. 1, 2, 3, 4. What are your years of service? What branch? What MOS? Where have you been deployed? What are you service connected for? And then what have you been denied? And based off of these questions, I will go ahead and answer, give my free, thoughts on the veteran situation. I have no idea what's going to be said. Hopefully no one's crazy, but you never know. Everyone's situation is very unique. So I want to show the veteran how you can analyze yourself and your own benefits to kind of maximize that potential. So to start, we have this veteran here. I'm not going to say your name. Can you check that, make sure your audio works?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I got you. I need to turn up my side. Okay. Let me pull up the questionnaire and let's just go ahead and get started. All right. What are your years of service?
1992 to 96.
All right. Old school in here. Okay. What branch?
Army.
Army. And what's your MOS?
31 Fox.
That is, what is that? I know it's combat arm or something.
Communications.
Okay. And where have you been deployed to, if any?
Korea and Fort Bragg. Still not deployed, but.
Yep. Now, because you're in Bragg, was that airborne status? What unit were you with? What does that look like?
I was in the 35th Signal, but I was not airborne.
Okay. Just making sure. I was on the Army, so I have no idea what that means. You know, a question I always have is like the 82nd Airborne. Whatever happened to like the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and all the way up to the 81st? Anyways, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I'm just saying. 35th signal. Okay, what are you service connected for?
Left knee replacement.
All right, and that's at 30, I'm assuming.
Yep. And then 40 at right knee extension due to arthritis.
Okay.
20 for flexation due to arthritis.
All right. Hold on.
40.
Is that also on the right knee?
Yep, those two are right knee. Then back to the left leg, it's thigh atrophy at 40%.
Is that a nerve condition?
No, that is due to the trauma on my left knee to gut. That's the reason it was replaced.
That's also at 40?
Yep. And then I have 30 for insomnia.
Hold on. I need to organize my thoughts real quick.
Okay.
Okay, insomnia. Whoa. Insomnia, 30.
And then 10 for tinnitus.
All right.
And that wraps it up there.
Okay, let me pull up. I totally should have done this. Here.
Well, I have 0 for scars and 0 for migraines.
Oh, yeah, though that matters, especially the migraine one. Okay, hold on. Let me add migraine, 0, and scar. Where's your scar at?
Scars from my knee replacement. So,
okay. All right. We are here. You are left knee replacement at 30. You also have a left knee. That psychiatry was 40, you said?
Yes.
All right. And then right knee at 40. Right knee at 30. I can already tell you right now that some chronic pain is in my thought process. It says you're at 100.
I'm at 90. So where do we miss at? So left knee at 30, then 40 and 20 for the right knee.
40 and 20 on flexion.
Yep. 40 on flexion, or
that's it.
20
that's
on flexion.
I had a clerical error. I had this at 30, not 40. Okay, so left knee's at 30 and 40. Right knee's at 40 and 20. Insomnia 30, tinnitus 10.
So left knee's at a straight 30, but the 40 is for the thigh atrophy. If I guess you're counting that the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. That makes more sense. Okay, I can tell you right now, if I were you, migraine increase is on. It's a super simple migraine increase. That's at 10%. Minimum rating at 30%. You have 100%. So let's talk about migraines first. For an increase is always the easiest route to go. Talk to me about your migraines and how bad they are.
About one every 5 to 6 days, and they're crippling. So I'm certainly prostrating and
describe crippling.
Well, I can't do much when it comes on.
What can you do?
Sleep if that happens. I go to the basement and just kind of hang out in the bed down there.
Are you on medication for that?
Yeah, Topramate.
Yep. Anything else?
Nope. That's what they've given me so far.
Yeah.
And that's been increased, but it just doesn't work.
Yep, don't worry. So I'm glad you're the first veteran I've spoken to, because this one's pretty easy. I am totally going to recommend migraine increase. Now, I just did a video on this. That's why I'm going to share it with you. and it really goes into the symptoms of prostrating, how to communicate them to the VA. It would take me like 20 minutes to explain that. Instead of doing that, I'm just going to show you this video. Okay. That is right here. Bam. It goes through Gammacore, the medication, my treatment that I use, and then I use my treatment in a statement, and I can actually share that. Let me go back to the screen and pull it up because it's on my, I don't want anyone stealing my stuff here for my personal email. Templates. This is what you need to do. So that video explains how I made this. It's color coded. It's all nice and pretty. That is exactly what you need to do. Okay.
Yep. I do have a challenge.
share-
I do have a challenge with the migraines. They initially awarded me 0 in November. Then they just took the rating away, saying that there was a clear and unmistakable error. And that was to a supplemental claim.
Yeah.
So I did a supplemental claim behind the 0 to do an increase. They did a clear and unmistakable error because it's secondary to my tinnitus. They said that there's no relationship.
So hold on, is the service connected or not?
As of right now, yes. But I have 60 days to respond to the denial.
Okay, that changes things. Now I'll tell you straight up, that's not something I'm going to do over this one-on-one, but I will tell you that you need to respond to the denial. You need to appeal that, give you that window, and then go ahead and start fighting that for sure. Okay.
Okay.
But with that, don't worry, I'm going to suggest other things, not just the increase on migraines. And I'm just going to assume that those are going to go away anyways. In private chat, you'll see that migraine video in case you need it. Anyways, okay, so that's a weird one there. Scars, whatever. I can tell you right now, where are you at with your, like, is your knee usable at all?
Both my knees, well, my right knee needs to be replaced, so it's really not usable. My left knee, it's still giving me a lot of trouble, but it's more functional than it was.
Yeah. All right. And talk to me about your insomnia rating or other mental health conditions. Hold on. No. That's a bad question for this setting. Don't answer that. Yes or no, do you have other mental health conditions outside of insomnia?
No.
Okay. Man, I don't want to suggest. If I were you, okay, looking at chronic pain, this right here is not like a 10% knee condition is like whatever, okay, like easy peasy lemon squeezy. What you have is not that. I can tell you right now, your right knee replacement would push this to 30. I'm curious as to what the re-rating would be for flexion and extension after. Yeah, exactly. So that's Kish already knew what was on my mind. That would not be good for your VA disability ratings, just FYI. I would look at increasing the insomnia. I would really go outside of self-segregation and probably go speak to someone about mental health, because I can tell you this right now, someone who's not sleeping is going to be angry. That's an understatement. And so I would probably look at that. Insomnia increase to 50 is a pretty, I wouldn't say easy, but it's standard. Depending on how your migraines roll, a 30% on your migraines would also be 100. Okay, talk to me about your denials real quick.
My denials. Denials was the right knee initially, but that just got approved.
Yep.
But then, like my feet, that was denial, but that was put through. I used one of those firms that don't really help. and they put everything musculoskeletal on the first claim.
Ooh, what firm was that? Just so we can talk crap about them.
Trajector.
Boo! You suck. Okay. All right. So when you say feet or foot, we're talking like flat feet, plantar fasciitis. What was it?
It was just feet pain. I mean, basically, it was just everything musculoskeletal all into one claim when they submitted. So then there's a plethora of denials, but it really was one claim.
Okay. And
So
what are the denials?
Hearing loss was denied, and that's documented through the VA that I do have it, but that was denied. Lower back pain was denied, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. I can tell you, looking at lower back pain, maybe some secondary connection there, and I'm really saying that because you have severe knee conditions. If these were not that bad, I would not recommend that. For you, that's definitely possible. For flat feet or bilateral plantar fasciitis, I'm going to assume you don't have a diagnosis there.
No.
But if you do, that changes things. Hearing loss, largely going to be 0%. I just wouldn't waste your breath on it, to be honest with you. The insomnia increase and whatever's going on with your migraines. My initial statement of thank you for being easy, I totally take that back. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Depending on what happens with this, even if it stays at 0, I would still follow through with the increase. But service connection is always more important than the rating, always. And so you're back at the service connection aspect there. If I were you, and again, I just want this to come across clear. You're fighting the VA on them severing the service connection. You need to appeal it, and you need to do it fast. If I were you, I would submit a Nexus letter and a DBQ, and I don't really like recommending that. But the reason that I would do it is because if that remains service connected and is pushed to 30%, that's 100. Nexus letter and DBQ is solid evidence to combat that with. Through that appeal, that's what I would do personally. And I think it's justifiable because it pushes you to 100. You don't have to do that. That's what I would do personally. I partner with American medical experts. They have a fast turnaround. They're expensive too, but it's because it's fast. You are going to have to interpret that as you will. Do you have any last minute questions before I kick you out of here?
I do. The denial for the migraines or the severance of service connection told me they had 60 days to respond to that before they would pursue severing it. So should I just respond to that?
That's step one. Step one. When did you get that notice?
Then appeal.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a same thing. But when did you get that notice initially?
Last week.
Yeah. Go ahead, do what you need to do, get the evidence, and submit that evidence as fast as you possibly can. I think it's justifiable, and you have Kish here. Kish is a VA rater. You have 30 days to file new evidence. Yeah, I know that's not the answer you wanted, but that's the answer that you're going to get, dude. All right. I hope that helps at least a little bit.
It gives me a path. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's what what I would do is Nexus letter DBQ. You're in a very specific situation that it will push you to 100. For that reason, I can go to sleep tonight recommending a Nexus letter and DBQ for you personally. I wouldn't recommend that for everyone, but I think your situation warrants that. But yeah, okay, I'm going to kick you out now. Thank you very much for being brave and coming on here, okay?
Thank you.
All righty.
Bye.
Get out of here. Okay, next, let me just run through. I'm going to put this in private chat because I don't know who's using their real names or not. If you are, you totally shouldn't. This is going to be the order, okay? I'm going to try to go as fast as I can. And I'm also looking at this from a little bit far away. So if I spell your not real name right, I'm sorry. That's the order right now, in case you're wondering. If you're if you're last, feel free to come back in like 20 minutes. Don't leave, but grab a drink, do whatever you want. I don't care. Before we get to the next one, we have a donation, a wild donation, dude. Thank you very much, John Purser, especially because you didn't even ask anything. You just said, just want to thank you. I appreciate it, dude. The amount of people that reach out, that donate just because they hit 100% is insane. And I'm blown away every time. So I definitely appreciate that. With that, let's go on to Sir Gemini. You there? You got me? Mr. Sir Gemini, I'm going to skip you. All righty. I'll come back to you. Waka, I think that's you. You're not on the screen yet. I just want you to know your video's on. I don't care if it's on, but if you don't care, can you shake your head up and down for me so I can see? Okay. I'll go ahead and put you on. All right. What's up, dude? You look mighty handsome, just so you know.
I doubt that. I don't know if you really want to chat or not, because I sent you an email a couple days ago.
Yeah, I do. I will tell you this: my email has thousands of emails. Just so you know.
Oh, I figured.
So there's just no way for me to even look at all of them. Anyways, despite that, let's go ahead and just jump right into this, so that way we can get to everyone else. What are your years of service? What are we looking at?
83 to 91, Air Force.
All right.
461XO, which is Munitions Systems Specialist.
All right. And deployments?
No.
Okay. And
Medically confined to the United States.
okay. What are you service connected for?
Mental health, 70%. Left knee pain at 10. Sleep apnea at 50/asthma.
Yep.
Tinnitus at 10. GERD at 10.
When was your GERD connected?
Roughly a year ago.
All right. Mental health at 70, left knee at 10, sleep apnea at 50, tinnitus at 10, GERD at 10. That puts you right on the line of what I call a good 90. Okay. 50% will do it. 40% just below that. So 30 and 20 will do it. And then let's look at 30 and 2 10s. Okay. So basically 50 or a combination of 40 and 10, or anything lower is 60.
I'm sorry, I forgot one.
Yep.
Rhinitis 0.
When was your rhinitis connected?
Well, 91.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. You were service connected for things before I was born. Just
yes, I'm old.
I'm sorry for saying that. Okay. What have you been denied?
Month. Denials. Headaches. Type 2 diabetes. Lower back. Left and right shoulder. I believe. Left and right wrist. All
right. Okay. These would be direct, most likely. I mean, yeah, they would absolutely be direct. Type 2, I don't see any way that could be secondary. That would have to be direct as well.
To asthma.
Maybe. There's also some maybe weight gain as a potential intermediate step there. That's just my thought process.
Yeah.
Headache could be direct. It would be a lot easier if it's that way. It also could be secondary, especially to a severe mental health symptoms here. Okay. How I like to tell people my thought process just so they learn. How I view things is the more severe your conditions are, the more likely they are to develop secondaries. There's nothing scientific in that. It's just what I see from helping veterans. Okay. And so headaches, secondary to mental health, that comes to mind. If given the max rating, which is 50%, not on the IU scale, that would push you to 100. So that's a route. I would at least consider that. Rhinitis increase is a given there. Have you ever submitted an increase for rhinitis?
So I started gathering evidence 6 to 8 months ago. I'm waiting on a DBQ from that doctor. So hopefully I don't have to have another one done to try to justify, yes, an increase.
Yeah, dude. Okay, let me just say this. Anyone who answers any question that I ask with "I've started gathering evidence," you are heading in the correct direction. Okay. I can confidently say that. I'm pretty confident in that. Now, 30% for rhinitis, I wouldn't say it's rare, but it's uncommon. We're looking at built up polyps there. What does that look like for you?
Unfortunately, no polyps.
Okay, so probably 10%. All right.
Yeah.
It could be 30. We don't want to segregate ourselves out, but I think we can plan for 10. If it was 30, that would put you at 93. Which is definitely better than a flat 90. But I think you have a very, very easy claim for rhinitis. And for planning purposes, I would assume you're at 90, which would be your good 90, right? So I'm going to put you in the good 90, at least in my head. Now, there is that intermediate, I'm going to say obesity, okay. Step when it comes to type 2. When did you actually don't even answer this? I'll just say some scenarios. If you gain weight due to mental health medication, maybe due to sleep medication, maybe GERD medication, especially over the years, that could absolutely lead to weight gain. That could lead to type 2. That could lead to headaches. Lower back would definitely be a part of that as well. And so that's all rhetorical, but that's something that I would explore. Okay. I do think it's a stretch, personally. That's a good pun there. But I would at least explore that. Headaches, though, would do it. There's really no increases. When was your left knee service connected?
A year and a half ago.
Okay. Talk to me about what led to your left knee being connected. And the only reason why I'm asking that is because seeing a 30 plus year time gap on a musculoskeletal condition tells me initially there might be more conditions that you have from service that just aren't claimed. So I would look at new claims if I were you. I'm going to ask you an impossible question, but I would think about it. What from service did you complain about that's not connected? Back in 1987, when you complained about X, right? What was X? And then whatever the answer to that question is, and hopefully it would be multiple things, and you might want to request your C file. That's what I would do if I were you. New initial direct claims are going to be up there, especially because I know you just got that connected after 30 plus years. I would look at that. The secondary headaches, the intermediate step with obesity and type 2, maybe hypertension as well. Those are things that I would look at to push your 90 to 100, given you need a solid chunk of ratings to be pushed. Does that make sense?
Yes. So I have a question on that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. Do you have any last minute questions?
Hypertension. I'm assuming you meaning tying that to mental health.
So, yes, it depends on what side of mental health you fall. Like there's like the depressive side. It's not either or. It can be both or either or. And then there's like the anxiety, PTSD. I'm freaking out. I'm irritable. That would definitely lead to hypertension, right? So there's kind of two different tracks there. That's one route. The obesity intermediate step would be another route for hypertension as well as type 2. So there's multiple routes there, and your evidence would suggest which one you would go down. Okay. Yeah. All right. I hope that helps, dude. That's what I can do for free, at least, without asking you, questions that are too personal. But yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Okay. I have a list here. Hold on. I'll add people to this. So right now, it's the list we just went through. We're on Kai Guy. No, we're not. Yes, we are. We're on Kai Guy. Kai Guy, Mark, that person, and then it will be this person here, and then this person there. Okay? So let's roll through this. Hey, you got me? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, dude. You sound very, very confident. Okay. Let's just jump straight into this, all right?
Alrighty. Years of service. I was in from 09 to 12 or 13, sorry.
All right. Hold on, I had to turn down my own volume there. 09 to 13. Okay.
Yep. I was in the Navy, and my MOS, I was military police.
Dude, I should kick you off right now, just so you know that.
Why?
MP, man. Okay.
Looks like you got hemmed up, huh?
Not by Navy MPs, and that was a different. We're not going to talk about that. But
different time.
Okay, deployments. I understand fleets. I understand ship deployments. Just talk to me about where you've been deployed.
No deployments. When I consider deployments, I would have been elsewhere. Korea, Bahrain.
Okay, well, hold on.
Japan.
Let's roll that back. So Bahrain matters. Okay. Let's start with not what you consider deployments. Just where have you been, to include the waters?
No waters. I was a dirt sailor, man.
Oh, dude, fake MP over here. Okay.
Yeah, fake Navy, man.
Korea, Bahrain, right?
Yeah, I've been Japan.
Okay, Bahrain matters. I want to double check that. I am almost certain. I just haven't looked at PACDAC locations in a while. I'm like 99.9% sure, but it would really suck to say something on live and it'd be wrong.
Yeah. It's weird. My last duty station, someone's asking me about some PACDAC stuff. It was nuclear related, and they used to dispose materials and burn them here, and all these like asbestos ridden buildings and everything else. And it's in my file now, which is really interesting because I didn't really bring it up, but worked with jets, so inhaling jet fumes for 12 hours a day was fantastic.
Yep. Oh yeah, your Bahrain's on the list. I just wanted to double check that.
Yeah.
As far as exposure goes as well. Okay. So not just presumptive. All right. What are you service connected for?
All right. So I am 70% for somatic symptom disorder. It was some other things. You know, the VA likes to change your ratings when something else comes in higher. So 70% for that. I've got 20% for what they considered a lumbar strain. Let me see what else. I apologize. I have, let's see, I have 30% for sleep apnea, 0% for a left thigh impingement. And then they've got.
You said 0?
That's correct.
All right.
I've got a left knee something strain. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that word. At 10%.
Does it say like patella or something?
It's no, it does not.
What can you spell it?
Musculoligamentous strain.
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Okay. And then I've got a 0% for left femoral anterior impingement. I can't say it.
Yep.
And then I've got another left knee, same M-word strain with tendonitis and bursitis at 0%. And then 10% for left hip limitation of extension.
Yeah. Does that come with 2 other zeros?
I have no idea, to be honest.
Okay, that's fine.
And then 10% for left knee instability.
There it is. Okay.
And what else? Sorry, I want to make sure I've got all this for you.
No, it's good. Measuring twice, cutting once is definitely the way to do it.
Yeah, and then 0% for eczema. And then I can give you some denials if you want to.
Yes. I will definitely need your denials.
All right, so migraines I was denied for. Major depression, they said not service connected, even though I was quasi service connected before. Hearing loss, not service connected. Sinusitis, not service connected. Tinnitus, not service connected. And then PTSD, not service connected, which is funny because I'm being treated for that now. I was diagnosed elsewhere. Now the VA recognizes that.
Yeah. So the good news is you don't have to worry about any of that. I would not increase this.
Okay.
Is it possible? Yes. I generally don't recommend it.
No, I don't want to poke the bear on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're fine. I can tell you right now, sciatic nerve damage is the very first thing that comes to mind. Oh, hold on. I need to.
Yeah. And while you're doing that, I'll tell you. So in August, I had I'm in PT again for like back issues. And in August, they did an MRI, and I've got not one, but 2 herniated discs back there with nerve impingements too. So I hadn't really followed on that just yet. Just been doing treatment, trying to get to a happy place. But that is something that just happened in the last year, and so I've been in treatment for it since then.
Have they talked to you about any nerve damage in your legs, like from your sciatic nerve, or do you get numbness and tingling?
Yeah, so I do, and I actually take stuff for sciatica prescribed on that side. I even take stuff for migraines prescribed on that side, which is interesting.
I would do 2 claims without even asking you anything else. I would do 2 claims, secondary, left lower radiculopathy, and right lower radiculopathy. And anytime someone is connected for a spinal condition that's linked to, it's basically on the same DBQ, always increase the lumbar 2. Exactly what Kish said. Okay. I would personally make that 3 different claims. It's essentially 6 one way, half a dozen the other. That's how I would, from the veteran view. But increase 2, and it would look like this: left lower radiculopathy, secondary to lumbar, whatever's going on. Okay.
Okay.
I would do that immediately.
Okay.
Super easy. You have treatment for it. I'm not worried about that. The lowest rating you are going to get for those is 10% each. That's going to put you at a 91. When you're looking at a 20% for each, that puts you at 93. Okay.
Okay.
So that's pretty big. Now you are connected for femoral. You can have up to 5 leg ratings. Nerve ratings. I would probably, just because if we're looking at this, do an increase on this as well. When were you given this rating?
So I've had it. They removed it. I think that was like in the original was like in 2013.
Yeah.
Then when they did the next assessment where they did the lumbar strain and the other stuff I'm rated for, that was 2019. And you know how they do, they give you a 1 and they take away something else.
Yeah. I would increase this. I'm assuming, and just like Kish said in the comments, this is probably related to your left hip. But if not, okay, if it's related to your lower back, I would also look at the right femoral and then submit that as a claim as well. Okay, so your 2 radiculopathy claims, your increase on your lumbar spine, your increase on your left femoral, and then I would also look at the right.
Okay.
If you're right with diagnosis, right, like you're on treatment for all of that, which I'm suggesting, and so with the diagnosis and or treatment, I would recommend the right too. That would make this a lot better. Okay.
Okay.
If you add another left leg and another right leg, 10% there, you're at 94. It's a little bit higher than 94. You're just below that 95% mark. Another question I have is, when were you rated for CPAP?
That was back in when I got out, actually, in 2013.
Yeah. Are you on a CPAP?
I am not. I've been suggested.
Would you be on a CPAP?
Do what? I'm sorry.
Have you been prescribed a CPAP?
I have. Yes.
Yeah. Increase that too.
Okay. My other question for you. So, tinnitus was initially denied because, of course, I didn't complain in service. I have gone back. I've got a civilian doctor to write a Nexus letter. I even had an audiologist who linked it just because of all the aircraft noise.
Yeah.
If you know anything about that, we don't wear a hearing pro out there. So 6 days a week with that for years. It's pretty bad. And then I even have a DBQ for it. So I thought about going ahead and submitting that claim.
Yeah. So you have the evidence required for a supplemental claim?
Oh, I do. Yes, sir.
So your question is, should you file it? The answer is always yes.
Okay.
Evidence-based VA claims, that is what you have. That's what you go with. 100% all the time. It will be a supplemental claim. You're already tracking that. You already have the next letter, the DBQ for that. So go for it. You might want to look at, I don't know what's in there, but if hearing loss is part of that, I would just add that to the.
Yeah. So it's like borderline where, they said that I might need like hearing pro at some point, like, some kind of hearing accessories. But, she, the fact that like I took it to, that other doctor and he wrote it. I didn't even get out of the office and he wrote me a Nexus letter.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Sounds like you had the hookup. Do you have any last minute questions before I kick you out of here?
Yeah, so you say follow up on those. As far as treatment goes for the radiculopathy.
Ooh.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I forgot. I overlooked sinusitis. When was that denied?
That was denied in 2013.
Do you have a diagnosis?
I do. Yes.
Yep. Supplemental claim. Same thing with rhinitis. I would look at rhinitis. That's a new initial claim. You already have. I wouldn't worry too much about asthma. But yeah, those two for sure. I'm so glad you caught that, Kish, because I totally overlooked that. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay.
Long story short, I think you are going to be 100%. I think you
Oh.
have a pretty easy route to get there.
Okay.
You've already done the work for half of it. You just got to do the second half, which is submit the claims and get the rest of the evidence.
Okay. Do you think I chase Nexus letters with these and then get PBQs from that private doc? I mean, he's great. He served 10 years, bunch of MPs, what he used to treat in flight med. So, I mean,
Is he an MP too?
Is he what?
Was he an MP too?
No, he was not. But he was a flight med doc.
Call fraud. No, I'm totally kidding. Yeah. So you don't need a Nexus for that. Just get a current diagnosis.
Okay.
Rhinitis, get a current diagnosis. If you're diagnosed, submit the claims. This is already good to go. Don't worry about that. For you, I would not worry about this.
Okay. I am being treated for it, but I just
about the skin, the hip. I wouldn't worry about that's an increase. I wouldn't worry about that. I wouldn't worry about that. That's an increase. Increase with the 3 additional claims.
Okay. I'll get on it. I appreciate you so much.
Yep, that's what I would do. Kish did bring up something. It is possible for migraines to be under MUCMI for undiagnosed illness. In your situation, I don't think I would worry about it too much personally.
Okay.
All right, that's all I got.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you so much.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
Bye.
Okay, let's look at our list here. Where are we at on our list? Mark, you're up next. Your video's on. Can you just shake your head up and down if that's okay? All right, just wanted to make sure. All right, Mark, we have Mark with us today. What's up, dude?
I don't know.
Let's jump straight into this. What are your years of service?
86 to 93 U.S. Army.
86, 93 Army. Okay, what was your MOS?
31 series, so radio communication.
All right, and what unit are you with for the Army?
Unit, gosh. I was with the maintenance battalion, a field artillery battalion, an air defense artillery battalion. So I kind of, in communications, you can jump to any of those.
Yeah, are any of those airborne?
Nope.
Okay. What about deployments? What are we looking at?
None.
Okay. And what are you service connected for?
Tinnitus.
That's that?
That is it.
Okay.
I just so back in my day, it was probably still true today. I don't know, but I'm old, so they tell you get rid of anything you can. You don't want to stay here for a month while the doctors check you out. You're fine. Get out of here. Go home. So okay, that's cool. But I had tinnitus ever since Graffin here. We were training the National Guard to go over to Kuwait and Iraq and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't think much of that tinnitus, right? I just whatever, you just deal with it, you suck it up, etc. And then, let's fast forward 3 decades, and I've had ringing in my ears both since Grafenveer. That was probably 89 or 90. And I've always been a very outgoing person, easy to make friends, stuff like that. Then I noticed the last 5 years, the friends kept dropping off. I don't make new ones. I don't like going into crowds. I don't like hearing too many sounds. And I don't know if this makes sense, but
no, it does. So I'm gonna derail the conversation here.
Sure.
And I'm saying it like this so you and people watching understand the point. You are telling me that. My question to you would be, have you been diagnosed with any mental health issues, depression, seclusion, or what does that look like for you?
Yes or no
would be solid.
Yes, to
Okay.
Telemedica.
Yeah,
And I've done the
only thing you have to know,
CMP
just to not reveal too much about your personal stuff, by the way. Okay. So you have that diagnosis. Now we're going to get into denials real quick before I can give you my 2 cents. Okay. But talk to me about your denials.
So I don't have any denials. I did the tinnitus like 4 months ago, and some other friends of ours that retired from the military are like, you know, we love you, but you're a little off. And so I went to get the Telemedica, and then I did a CMP exam after that. And now I'm in step 5 of that process for mental, basically.
Okay. So you went with, you said Telemedica?
Yeah, Telemedica.
Is that a company?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So on that note, for one, I'm glad you submitted the claim, just to be straight up with you. That's already in the process. There's nothing I can recommend for that. You've already had your exam. That's going to go. I'm glad that's on the track, though. For your situation, I would approach you just like I would for a BDD claim, is look at everything in service you could have complained about. Because I promise you, it's always more than we think. Okay, I promise you that.
So my back was something that I did complain about in the service. I was going to chiropractors like in 1987 before it was cool when I was stationed out in California. And I've had a surgery on my back. I just got another MRI. Left leg's numb from the knee down, right leg's going numb, pain, etc., etc. My question would be, I've got these other things already in process. I have plenty of MRI and nerve damage and all that to my spine and my legs, I think. But my question would then be, do you put in another intent to file before the other one has adjudicated itself? Does my question make sense?
Yeah, I'm going to answer you with what you need to do. What you need to do is right after I kick you out, you need to go to va.gov and start an intent to file. That's number 1. Number 2 is make a list of everything you were seen for: lower back, left leg, radiculopathy, right leg radiculopathy. I don't care if you hammered your finger in service. Whatever it is, you put it on that list. You're going to need current evidence for that. You need a current diagnosis. Once you do that, submit the claim. I'm going to assume you're using private healthcare versus VA. So if you are, I would get that evidence and submit that with your claim, as well as give the VA permission to get that 4142 off the top of my head there. Your situation is pretty easy because there's nothing to talk about outside of just submitting initial direct claims. Does that make sense?
So even though the other one's still in process in step 5, it's okay to do another intent to file?
If you could do it today, that'd be great.
Okay. And gosh, I was going to ask something else.
No, you're fine. Yeah. Go ahead and send me one more question.
So one more question is, so the back thing and all that stuff, if there was another intent to file that I wanted to do, could I do 2, or is it just one at a time, let them get into the process and then do another one?
No. So let's say you had the back, the 2 legs, nerves, and 10 other claims. Let's just say you had 10 claims in total. Your intent to file that you do right after you hang up here, do va.gov. You get all your evidence. You submit all 10 claims right there, one go, bang.
Okay. That makes sense. I wish I'd have done that in the beginning.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
That ship has sailed. Don't sweat it too hard. Because really, you should have filed in 1993, right? But don't worry about it. You're good. All right.
That's it. That's all I have.
Yeah, you are in good shape. I promise. It doesn't look like it, but you're already well and underway with. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Telemedica, obviously, but If they didn't work, people wouldn't use them. Okay. So you're already underway for mental health. You have a plan on what you want to submit initial direct. I would think of everything and do it all in one shot, and that's it. Let the ship ride, right? And in a year, let me know how it went down.
Oh, sleep apnea, because I do have sleep apnea diagnosed, et cetera, and I thought probably related to that. Hypertension's another one, but anyway, I don't need to worry. You got other people to talk to.
Secondary route, so that conversation is more of a full analysis, but I still wouldn't be comfortable without you submitting your first initial claim package, we'll call it first, to see what secondaries are even available, because the date of diagnosis is absolutely going to matter for things like secondary claims, obesity, and sleep apnea, hypertension. All of that's going to come into play. So I would just hold off on that. Personally,
makes sense to me. I appreciate your time, sir.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for being brave enough to hop on. Okay, I'll see you later.
See ya.
Okay, I'm trying to do these fast. We have Pogue Ninja. Your mic is muted, just so you know. Okay, you're good. You there? You got me?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, first off, I think your name's hilarious.
Thank you.
Let's just jump right into this. What are your years of service?
March 2017 to October 2024.
All righty. And branch?
Marines.
Nice, dude. Okay. What's your MOS?
0111, Administrative Specialist.
Oh, dude, you took Pogue Ninja for real. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Deployments. Where are you at?
No deployments.
None. All right. You weren't stationed overseas or anything like that?
No.
All right. Were you with, were you like an IPAC, or were you at like a infantry unit, or where?
No infantry. I was a supply battalion.
Okay.
On that my first station.
All right. And what are you service connected for?
10% migraines with variants. 10% left ankle sprain with swelling.
You said, I'm sorry, at 10?
Yes.
Okay.
50% sleep apnea to include asthma.
Yeah.
10% GERD.
Yeah.
10% right ankle sprain with swelling.
Yeah.
10% right knee tendonitis with shin splints.
With shin splints?
Yes.
Okay.
40% lumbosacral strain. I probably botched that.
At 40?
Yes. 30%, I'm going to say it wrong, pes planus / plantar fasciitis bilateral.
Okay.
10% left knee tendonitis with shin splints.
All righty.
10% TMD or TMJ, some people nearby.
Yeah.
10% tinnitus.
Okay.
And that is it.
All right. I can tell you, you are in better, when I say better shape, I'm talking about VA disability. You're in better shape than what I thought you were going to say. All right. Which is good. That is good news there. I'm just going to go ahead and do the math on this. $91 with a decent bilateral. That should be 30. Yep, 30 will do it. 20 will put you. Okay. All right. You're in good shape. All right, you're at a good 90. You still need decent amount to push it, but talk to me about denials.
I got denials for adjustment disorder, major depressive disorder, bilateral hearing loss.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I was totally reading something. Start over. My bad.
Yeah, you're fine. Adjustment disorder is the first one.
Yeah.
Major depressive disorder.
Yep.
Bilateral hearing loss. Right hip condition. Dental and oral.
All right.
Eye condition left.
Yep.
And right wrist condition.
Right what?
Wrist condition.
Okay. I wouldn't worry about any of those personally. Maybe the right wrist, depending on what went down, why you were denied, and what evidence you have to. I totally wasn't going to say that, Kish, but I got you. Don't worry. Whatever evidence you have to combat that, maybe. But that would be most likely 10%. Could even be 0. A lot of risks are 0 or 10. Mental health is the big one. Obviously, if you're connected for mental health at 30, that's 100%. 50 and 70 is just a cherry on top. Do you know why you were denied? Let me rephrase that. Did you go to behavioral health and service?
Yes.
Okay. So now I'm fully on board with looking at mental health more so than I was. Okay. Why were you denied?
No in-service diagnosis or / event.
Yeah, but you went to behavioral health, correct?
Yes.
Is that noted in your decision letter?
I do not believe so.
2024.
And I currently do have a major depressive disorder diagnosis as well.
Yeah. When was that?
So that one was a little iffy. Both kind of happened after service.
Yeah. Well, when? Okay. Let's rewind because I don't want you to go. Yeah. I don't want you to talk details. When were you diagnosed for depression?
That was March of 2022.
In service?
I had just got back into service. I got out for under a year and then went back.
Okay. We're gonna rewind back to that. When were you out?
From March 2021 to January 2022.
Okay, and you were diagnosed depression during that time?
I was diagnosed in March of 2022, about 3 months after joining service, but it's a little iffy because it's
doesn't matter. Totally, whatever the reason is totally irrelevant because you were a Marine at that time. Not to mention your previous service before that. Just to be clear, the January 22 to 24, was that active or reserve?
I was technically in the reserve component, yeah.
All right. We're putting some pieces together, okay? I just made a video today about how reserves get shafted. I think this is a prime example. I can tell you right now, my initial thoughts are he was. You weren't AGR, were you?
I was what?
Were you AGR?
I must say if I don't know what that is, no.
Yeah, you're fine. AGR is so rare in the Marine Corps, Kish. It's not. I've met like 3 of them, but going back, my first initial thoughts are higher level review. Because you're within 1 year of your denial, right?
For the major depressive disorder.
Yeah, for any of the mental health stuff.
No, I believe I'm outside that time frame. No, I just did. Get my mind together. I just did a increase as well as a appeal to that major depressive disorder, which was denied again, and that was just a couple weeks ago.
Okay. I can tell you right now, there's no way I can recommend anything on denial on your situation without really digging into what's going on. I would that's still on my plate. Okay. That's absolutely on my plate for mental health. But to give you something, I'm not going to leave you with anything. Let's just assume it would be denied anyways, and so we'll move on. Migraines. There is potential for migraines to be increased to 30. That would absolutely help. Let's see what that would look like. That would put your 91 at a 94. That would be pretty cool. If it's at 30%, I would really look at the same video I shared earlier. I'll put this in private chat again, so you have it. You're going to want to watch that, and you're going to want to do the statement that it says, okay? I'll put that in chat for everyone else as well.
So I do have a question regarding actually GERD and migraine specifically, if you don't mind giving your expertise.
Yeah, go. What you got?
So a part of my increase that I submitted had to do with migraine, as well as GERD. Currently taking the medication for it. Some relief, but not completely, as well as being prescribed by the VA, the gammaCore device as well. I've been using for a couple months now.
Did you use that because of me?
Yes, yeah, that's actually because of you. I pushed for it. My doctor had no idea about it, but I had to reference like their migraine, what you have to do, first step, second step of medication, and I got them to bypass both of those to get the gammaCore device directly.
Yeah. No, that's I'm totally gonna clip that and send that to gammaCore just so you know. That's awesome.
Oh,
Thank
definitely.
You for saying that.
No, yeah.
Okay, so migraine increase is definitely still on the table.
So with those migraines as well, the gammaCore, the GERD, I did. What I wanted advice on, it might be pretty straightforward, but I did the DBQs during a CMP exam for both of those at the same time. Same doctor. Told her my symptoms, everything that was going on. And when I got the denial, I went to, the migraine got 10% increase. But I went to the VA, got my DBQs right after that to look over them. And she downplayed all the symptoms that I put on there. That I was
talking about the CMP examiner, or
yeah, the CMP examiner downgraded everything that was on there was wrong from what I expressed to that person.
Yeah, this is the importance of having evidence. Okay, submitting your claim with evidence, outlining evidence in your statement. That's what the video is about, by the way. And then doing an HLR when that happens. Was that increase? How recent was that increase granted?
Just a couple weeks ago.
I would do a higher level. Did you submit evidence with that?
So I submitted the prescription. Well, they don't give you an actual prescription, but I put in a personal statement that I am taking. I'm using the gammaCore device along with the list of the medications I'm taking for GERD and migraines, because I'm also taking 2 medications for migraines as well, for onset and preventative.
What are you taking? Just because I'm curious.
Yeah, let me.
Is it amitriptyline or like rizatriptan or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what
I
I'm
believe
thinking.
so, yeah.
Okay. I would do a higher level review with an informal conference. I would submit another statement. Actually, I'll just show you. It's right here. You probably fall into the same, how you described it are my symptoms as well. You probably fall into something very, very similar to this. The video goes over how I created this. It sounds like you. I would do a higher level review, informal conference, submit a new statement, and the statement can only outline the evidence you submitted. That's what I would do. And to give you some personal testimony, that's exactly how I got 100% was for a migraine, HLR, with a statement like this. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Medication for GERD doesn't matter. They're really looking at your esophageal stricture and very, very severe, strict GERD symptoms. And so if you aren't getting the balloon in your throat or your esophagus to blow up and do all that stuff, I wouldn't even sweat that. 10% is going to be the most common rating for GERD here on out.
Okay. Because I did, and again with GERD, I did tell her, or the CMP examiner, that I was having trouble swallowing, which I do. It feels like gas going down.
Yeah.
And she put it on there. The problem swallowing, put no.
Do you have evidence outside the CMP exam that shows you are swallowing?
Just notes between me and my doctor through the VA chat.
That is good enough. But before we get stricture of, I'll show you the GERD rating. GERD. Okay. I'm just gonna read this to you. Oh my goodness, you can't see. Okay. Let's look at 30. Documented history, not self-report. Documented history of recurrent esophageal stricture causing dysphagia, which requires dilation. Remember the big balloon in your esophagus? This is a nice way to say trouble swallowing doesn't matter for the context of what we're talking about for an increase for 30. What matters is this, okay? How you described it, that's not you. If it is, then submit the increase. I don't think it is, though. And so that's a non-issue. Like GERD is just not on my radar. What is on my radar for you is HLR, just like we talked about. I would look at radiculopathy. Okay, I am so surprised you don't have nerve damage stemming from a lower spine condition. And so I would look at radiculopathy left, radiculopathy right.
Yeah,
That's flat feet at 30. Pronounced flat feet could be the increase there. You could look at that, but that's not as common. And then the mental health denial, which that seems there's more to that I'm not going to dive in right now. But yeah, do you have any last minute questions?
No, that pretty much went over everything.
Yeah, that is. Hold on. Let's roll that back. Kiss brings up a great point. Doing a radiculopathy secondary on lumbar does open your back to be reviewed again on a CMP exam. And so let me just put it like this. If you're not too confident you would get 40 again, maybe you don't touch it because your migraines connected at 30 gets you to 100, right? So you don't even need that anyways. My last advice would be I would put all your effort in this higher level review. I would, after you do the HLR, do an intent to file and just sit on it until the HLR.
Okay.
Because if you're 100%, then who cares, right? Whatever. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then for you, dysphagia, I'm going to answer Jason's question. That's right, but again, self-report means nothing. It's only documented history, right? And for GERD, that would be we're talking way above a secure message at that point for dilation because it requires dilation. All right, dude, I'm gonna let you go.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. All right. Hold on. Let me get back to my list. I'm trying to get to everyone who I wrote down. I will get to, even if my wife gets really mad. Okay. So let's go to Puerto Rican. All right. That's his. In case anyone's wondering, that is the name he puts down. I'm not just calling him Puerto Rican. I feel like I had to say that as a white dude. Okay. Can you hear me? Are you on?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you set me up for a trap there. Okay, let's delete this. Let's hop in it. What are your years of service?
2018 to 2022.
Yeah, and branch?
Army.
Okay. MOS?
12 kilo.
That's a what? You there? Give you a couple more minutes. You there? You got me? I can hear you moving around. Oh, that sucks. If he comes back, I'm going to pull him back up just for the next person. We will do. Okay, he's back. Hey. Okay. Brandon, we will end with you. How about that? So we have. Yep, Midwest man. That's the list. Okay, so I'll do Puerto Rican, Devil Dog, Warren, Midwest, and then Brandon. Okay, Devil Dog, you're gonna be next. Puerto Rican, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool beans. 12 kilo. What is that?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, now I can hear you. Yeah. Well, I can now. What is a 12 kilo?
Plumber.
You're a plumber?
Yes, sir. Plumber in the Army.
All right. I just didn't know if you cut out, and that's what. Okay, whatever. All right. Deployments.
I wouldn't consider a deployment, but Romania.
Romania. Okay. Anywhere else?
That's it.
Okay. And were you stationed there, or was that like a Black Sea rotation, or a training exercise for Europe, or what?
They call it it's basically to, I guess, build and construct some roads and stuff like
Yeah,
that. If that
I got
makes
it.
sense.
Yeah. Okay. What are you service connected for?
70% for anxiety with depressant symptoms.
Yeah.
10% for tinnitus.
Yep.
10% for right knee and 10% for left knee.
Yep.
20% for right shoulder.
Okay.
And 0% for scar, right knee.
All right. And what have you been denied?
Denied for hearing loss, lower back pain, migraines, and sleep apnea.
Okay. Was your sleep apnea claim direct?
It was secondary to tinnitus, but at that time, tinnitus was denied.
When was your mental health connected?
It was connected 3 weeks ago.
Okay. When were you diagnosed with anything mental health related?
I was diagnosed, I would say, like 6 months ago.
When did you start having symptoms?
It was around 2022, but I didn't actually go to any behavioral health or anything like that.
Okay. When were you diagnosed with sleep apnea?
I was never diagnosed with sleep apnea.
All right. That's in this case, that's a good thing. Okay. Get diagnosed. I'm going to assume you would be diagnosed if you get tested for it. So get diagnosed. I would probably do a supplemental claim secondary to mental health. The issue with that is that's going to require new and relevant evidence. A diagnosis is part of that. That's my first thoughts. Okay. I would almost never recommend sleep apnea secondary to tinnitus. Oddly enough, I've seen it a couple of times. But with your anxiety and depressive symptoms, mental health is probably the way to go. Tinnitus is capped. Maybe some secondaries, migraines come to mind there. But again, I would look at mental health for that. I'm not a too big tinnitus fan. Left knee, right knee, very, very common to have tens. Do your knees like buckle, give out? Do you fall?
Yes, sir. The right knee, I have some instability. It's not diagnosed, but I do have it. That's why I wear the knee brace for that.
Okay. Hold on. Let me roll back there. First off, Tyler, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Also, this guy says you're calling from the basement of the barracks. Okay, your right knee service connection is for patellar instability?
Negative, sir.
It's for range of motion?
Yes, sir.
Same thing with your left?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you totally don't have to call me sir. It's okay. Right knee, left knee. Do you have instability in both?
No, just the right one.
Just the right one? Okay. I'm going to recommend a direct claim for that. I wouldn't recommend secondary. But I would claim the actual diagnosis, patellar, whatever it is, syndrome. There's different patellar diagnosis, just FYI. I would also do a quick statement, not even a paragraph long, that just outlines your prescribed knee brace, right? Or assistive device or whatever you got going on. Is that through the VA or private?
Private.
Okay. And then you're going to have to give them those records as well. All right. Okay. Statement, the records, new initial direct claim for patellar instability, whatever you got going on for your right knee. Right shoulder at 20 is a solid rating. Not that it can't be increased. It's definitely on the table. I would also look at, I don't know what condition you have specifically in your right shoulder, but if you have nerve damage in your arm, like if your arm falls asleep a lot of people with radiculopathy in their arms complain about sleep because they wake up because their arm is asleep and it hurts. So if that's you, that might be something you want to get checked out, get the diagnosis, submit the claim. And then just to double tap back on the knees, an increase on the right knee wouldn't be a bad idea either, just for the patellar as well. So I would personally do both if it was me. Scar on the knee, I'm going to assume it's pretty small.
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't sweat that at all. You don't have a big time gap from service. I would absolutely look at anything and everything you complained about in service that you can get a current diagnosis for and submit that as a claim. All right.
Sounds good.
I would look at the reason why your back was denied. Do you know why?
Honestly, I don't. I will have to review the.
Yeah, that's something that like a full one-on-one would absolutely do. I'm going to assume it's because you don't have evidence from service. All right. Because looking at that time gap with evidence, it would be crazy if you were denied anyways. So I don't think you had evidence. If you do, or if you remember complaining about it, just know you have a route to appeal that. I can't really make any recommendations beyond that without diving into that. Same thing with migraines. I'm going to assume you don't have evidence from service. I would look, because you have anxiety symptoms, I would absolutely look at secondary migraines to mental health. You have correlating factors like tinnitus there. That's what I would do. Okay. Let me hop over to this calculator to see where you're at, because sometimes it's not worth it. So sometimes it is. So right knee, left knee, right shoulder. I'm going to go ahead and assume your right patellar. That's a pretty easy claim for your situation. So I think at a minimum, you're going to be not 90%. Now, just so you know, I need you to be aware of this. It does not get worse than an 85%. Okay? That is as bad as a 90 gets, which means we go back to this. Let's just say you're diagnosed with sleep apnea and you want to get a Nexus letter. Would I do it? Absolutely not. Okay? Why would I not do it? Because let's say you get service connected, which is already a stretch to begin with. You're still at 90. Now, granted, it's a better 90. Okay? But at the end of the day, 85 and 93 is the exact same. Now, if you want to go that route, but you have, let's say your back gets service connected for whatever reason, and then all of a sudden your sleep apnea at 50 would push you to 100, that's a different story, okay? But as of right now, that's not you. This is you. I think at a minimum, you'll have 90. You have such a long way to go for 100. You really need to look at new initial claims, maybe some secondaries from mental health. And you've only been out for a few years. Your mental health, especially at this severe, is bound to develop secondaries. Just FYI. I don't think that's what you wanted to hear, but that's all the advice I can give. Does that help you?
Yes, it does. It really does.
Okay, awesome. Do you have any last minute questions?
No, sir.
All righty. Means.
Thank you.
Yep. Let's look at Devil Dog, I think. Yes. Your camera's on. Can you shake your head up and down with that skull? All right. Sweet. Hello. Thank you for coming. I appreciate that.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
All right,
cool. Let's dive into this. I'm going to assume you were in the Marine Corps, so I got that part.
Yeah.
Years of service.
2012, 2014.
Okay. NOS?
6062.
What is that?
It's intermediate level hydraulics mechanic, aviation.
Yeah, I'm just going to put air.
Yeah, airframes.
Right. And deployments? Do that?
None. No.
All right. Were you stationed stateside?
Yeah, I was at Cherry Point.
All right. I flew through Cherry Point many times through 12 and 14, so there's a good chance that we bumped into each other.
Could be. So I have 0% for rhinitis. I'm total at 90. I've got 10% for migraines. Those were done February 14th of this year through Terra. And then I've got 20% for right shoulder impingement, 10% radicopathy, lower extremity, lower left, 10% lower right of the same, 10% left knee, 50% mental health, 0% limited flexation of the hip, 20% lumbar strain, 10% tinnitus, 10% left hip, 0 left hip, limit extension, 0% left ear hearing loss, 10% right knee strain. And I had 10% tinnitus, but I don't show it on here. And then I was denied right hearing loss, right hip strain, and sleep apnea.
Okay. I need to make sure I got all that. Hold on. Okay. Let me go here. We have rhinitis at 0, migraines at 10, right shoulder at 20,
Yep.
radiculopathy in your leg at 10, radiculopathy in your right leg at 10, left knee at 10, mental health at 50, lumbar at 20, tinnitus at 10, hearing at 0, right knee at 10.
So yep.
I think I skipped the hip. Hold
on. Yeah.
I did skip the hip. Okay.
10% left hip.
With 2 zeros. So you have a 10-0-0, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then your right hip's denied. Okay, so straight up, the hips are very weird. They're rated very, very weird. Usually you see 10-0-0, hands down the most common. You're at 86% right now. You know it's about 90. Okay, so that skews what I'm going to recommend because it's only worth it if it's going to push you to 100, or at least that's my opinion. I'm super excited to see migraines connected at Terra for the wing and hydraulics within aircraft. That's awesome. I can tell you right now, looking at this connection, because it was so recent, that leans me towards higher level. Migraines are notoriously underrated.
So when I went to the CMP, like I explained everything. I was like, I get them 5 to 7 times a month. Like I explained it exactly how I was supposed to. And then when I got the decision letter back, it said 2 to 3 times a month.
Yeah, that's because CMP's name or suck.
Right. So do I request for a higher thing?
That's the question. To answer that, I need you to answer a few other questions, right? So what evidence did not self-report? What hardcore medical evidence, like prescriptions, do you have that show the severity of your prostrating symptoms?
See, that's the thing. I don't have anything because I'm a Marine. I just self-medicate and deal with it, you know? So
yeah, well, hold on. Service connection's good.
Right.
So anything recent? Or is it
no, I mean, like I said, I just take Excedrin migraine and kind of deal with it. And like when I went to my CMP, he was like, yeah, you should probably get that, you know, he's like, I can diagnose it, but you need to go to the VA and kind of make sure that it's being documented, which 100%, he's right. But now trying to do what I'm trying to do now, I don't know how to get it to that higher level on the migraines, because that was more I was thinking is the migraines over anything else, because I just recently got my right shoulder from 10 to 20 with this same claim. Like I claimed the migraines, the rhinitis, and the shoulder and stuff all at the same time, and they only gave me the 10% for the shoulder, which didn't bump me up at all, and then the migraines at 10.
All right. So I'm going to, you're in the long game, just so you know.
All right.
It's definitely not an overnight. Like you're not going to be able to do anything tonight outside of just get appointments set.
Like if I did like a buddy letter and a personal statement and a migraine tracker, would that be sufficient for evidence or no?
So everyone else would say yes, and that's the right answer. I would say no. I'm very particular on the evidence that I recommend people submit. So if I was you, if I was in your spot, genuinely, I would speak to my primary care. I assume you use VA. And talk about, or private, that does not matter. Really talk about how sucky your migraines are. Okay. That's going to get you a referral to probably a neurologist, and that's going to start you on a track down medication if you want to go that route. Maybe there's all kinds of treatment stuff for migraines. In doing that, you talk about your prostrating symptoms. Okay. because you have prostrating migraines. If you didn't, you wouldn't have a 10% here. You have prostrating symptoms. Describe them 5 to 7 times per month is a lot. Okay. That rate's higher than 10%, in my opinion. The issue is the VA doesn't care about our opinions. They care about the CMP examiner's opinion.
Right.
And you can combat that with evidence, but you don't have it. Right. And so now
Right.
we're in getting it stage. And so that's what I would do. 1, you get some healthcare. That's great. And 2, you're building evidence for the increase. That's what I would do.
Now, if I do that, because that's going to take time, obviously, I have a year from from February of this year, I have till February of next year to submit that information and still keep my date that I applied, correct?
Technically the answer is yes, but the VA is 99%, and Kish, you can weigh in on this as well if you're listening here. Because you're going to submit new evidence for that claim. The VA did not have the ability to properly rate you to begin with. Therefore, your effective date of your supplemental claim will be whenever you claim it.
Oh, that's outstanding.
Yeah.
Because he has a disability diagnosis that would go back. What does that mean? Because he has a disability diagnosis that would go back. Go back to what?
It could go back to your original intent to file date.
Okay.
There's a law. There's a case. I'm going to do this real short. There's an appeal right now through CCK where they're debating increases in supplemental claims. And then Kish Roper, another good point is if the exam was deemed insufficient. The problem with that is you don't have the evidence to show that. And so you would be reliant on a VA person to really give you the benefit of the doubt there.
Gotcha.
Obviously, that's my opinion. I wish you the best. I hope you get back paid till then. But
what about the mental health? Can I raise? I mean, I don't know if I want to poke the bear on that one, but would raising the mental health get me to where I need to be?
We'll get there. Hold on. So migraines has to happen. All right. You are so far behind. You're at a bad 90. Migraines has to happen. Absolutely. Start doing the groundwork for that. I would do an intent to file right now, just in case. Looking at a supplemental claim for your migraines, okay? Because you're disagreeing with that decision.
Okay.
That issue is what is at court right now. I won't do anything with that. Your back has potential to be increased. When was that? Because you got out pretty recently. Oh,
that was 2014. Those were all the musculoskeletal stuff was done at the same time. So everything, all the right shoulder.
Just based on over 10 years ago, I would do an increase.
Okay.
I'm willing to bet my life your back is much worse now than it was 10 years ago.
It's jacked.
Yeah. And I don't even need to look at an MRI for that. I would do an increase on that, as well as the radiculopathies. Okay.
Okay.
So 3 increases there. That's really 4 with the migraines. That one's going to take time. Mental health. Can you increase it? Yes. What are some hardcore symptoms that separate 70 from 50? Okay. That's what we're really talking about here. Suicide ideation is definitely one of them. Not necessarily just thinking about it, but more, I'm trying to say it in the nicest way possible. Like having a plan, thoroughly thinking about it. It's much more than, oh, maybe my life, maybe life would be better if I wasn't here, right? It's much deeper and more severe than surface level ideations. That's one of them. That's not the only one. Frequent panic attacks is definitely on that radar. Same thing with episodic depression. Like how often are you depressed? Severe irritability could be anything from freaking out in a 7-Eleven to like a domestic violence, right? Police reports, all of that. And then the biggest one, in my opinion, is the inability to maintain effective relationships. All this is rhetorical.
Right.
But like, let's say someone at 70, if they have kids, they probably struggle with connecting with their kids, right? They are probably divorced. And if not, then they're really only married because of their spouse. Okay. And that dignity and will of the spouse and that marriage there. So the inability to maintain effective relationships is definitely going to be a big one. If any of those or multiple are you, then the answer is to get the evidence, submit the increase. Right?
Okay.
Now, with what we talked about, migraines, the back, and mental health, let's go back to our planner here. Let's just I'm gonna lowball your back here. Let's say your back comes back the same, but your radiculopathy comes back increased, right? I'm only doing that for planning purposes, just to give you a legit analysis. Obviously, if your back comes back at 40, that's great. Okay. But let's say your legs are increased only, that would put you at 88. If your back didn't come back at 40, that puts you at 92, and you are in the zone. All right. But let's put your back down at 20. Let's say your migraines 5 to 7 is 50% territory. Where are we at? That would push you to 100 right there. At 30%, that would push you to 91. Okay. I do think you're in 50% territory for your migraines, just so you know. And then your mental health increase, that would put you at 94. And again, this is with the radiculopathy increases. If we would have put those back at where they are at right now, the mental health increase would put you at 92.
So the mental health increase and the migraine increase.
Yeah, so the mental health increase by itself would put you at 92.
Okay.
The back increase with the mental health increase is put you at 94. And any of the radiculopathies that come back higher would put you at 100. So you have a route to 100%. I think it's very doable. And this doesn't even include migraines, right? This is no migraines included here.
Okay.
So that's still part of it. I would look at an increase for rhinitis, depending on your symptoms. Like if you get nasal spray, I would just do an increase on that.
No, I had claimed sinusitis as well, but it doesn't show up in my VA stuff. Like I know I claimed it when I put in my initial intent to file, but it's not there.
Do you have a diagnosis?
No, because they never even did it. I did that as a presumptive due to Terra, the same way I did the migraines and the rhinitis. And I got the rhinitis, but they didn't even ask me anything about the sinusitis, and it doesn't show up anywhere in my file.
I would call the VA on that just to double check. But I can tell you right now, I would still get a diagnosis.
Okay.
That's what I would do. But yeah, you could absolutely. I would call and just ask about sinusitis and explore that, and see what that looks like. Did you submit yourself or was it a VSO?
I submitted myself.
Okay. On that, that's pretty much my initial there. There's still a chance for anything that's new direct, but you would need a current diagnosis and something that you complained about that's not on here. Do I think you have an easy route to 100%? I wouldn't say easy, but I think you can get there.
Okay. I mean, the sleep apnea, I got diagnosed then at the VA, like afterwards, but I asked for it when I was enlisted, and they kind of brushed it off. I mean, is there a way to get that put in, or would that even matter?
What claim is that for? I'm sorry.
For the sleep apnea. Like I have a CPAP that was issued to me by the VA. But when I was getting out, they never like I tried to service connect before I got out, and they wouldn't even send me to get evaluated.
Do you have any evidence from service that shows that?
I'd have to look. I doubt it, but I'd have to look. I know I requested it, but I was like pretty close to getting out because I got out on a 10-day letter.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get it at least documented, and they never, they were like, they kind of brush it off. Like, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah. So I'll tell you this, if you can find that, you requesting it to be checked, perfect. Okay. The answer is yes, you can do something with that. If you don't have it, it starts to be shaky. But you also have, when were you denied sleep apnea?
I think that was with my initial. Let me look.
Was it before 22?
Yeah, it was. I think it was with the 2014 claim when I got out.
Yeah, there is a chance for Tara for that as well.
Okay.
At a minimum, I would do a supplemental claim. Okay. Still find the evidence from service. I would still do that. But you still have the Tara route, and you're in better shape than most for Tara, I would say.
Okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Do you have any last minute questions there?
No, appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, dude. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Yep.
Okay. We have Warren. You're up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I got you. Okay.
All right, so this is a tricky one because it's regarding SMC stuff. I sent you an email a couple of days ago. Do you want to talk about it or no?
Are you just asking an SMC question?
Yeah, it's going to be related to SMC and possible adding on. I'm already at 100%. I'm actually like well beyond that. I have more things I can add, but trying to figure out how to get the 2 separate L's, or like just step the ladder, get 1 L and step up to O, which would entitle R1.
Yeah. Man, putting me on the spot with some difficult questions.
Yeah.
First off, I'm not going to show your email.
Yeah.
But
you can share the chart. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, but then I would show everyone else's too. Can you tell me what to search in my search bar for it? Did you say SMC in the email?
Let me see. It said Kishkin sent me is in the article, or is in the title. It says SMC L aid in attendance review. Kishkin sent me. Otherwise, it says SMC L / aid in attendance is actually written in.
What email did you send it to?
ABA claims.
You know what? We have private chat. Why am I asking this?
Gotcha. Yeah, that's like, yeah.
Can you answer that? The people in here will see it, but that's a lot less than 200. So. All right. Just so you know, I already know this is going to be the hardest question.
Yeah. We can save it for later if you want.
No. You're on. You waited too. If you didn't wait, I would totally not. Just so you know. But you waited, so
yeah.
That is worth it. Okay. I need you to tell me what email you sent it to.
Let me put in the chat.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that one. Okay.
It's the one your boy gave me.
Did you come? Hold on. From Jason? Oh, no. I see the. Okay. I totally got it. All right.
Cool.
You just give me a minute. Right?
Sorry.
In case for the viewer, just a quick email. Are you on medication for ED? I mean, for
yes.
mental health?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm on 2, stepping off of 1 and starting another.
It's insane that was denied.
Yeah, I missed the one exam because I had a car accident, and then the second one, I was recovering from it, and I missed the exam, and I recalled 3 times to schedule it, and they just went without. They just did an ace and said whatever.
Honestly, that's better than being denied straight out. Yeah. I wouldn't worry about that.
Am I?
Sucks that you had a car accident. I don't want to downplay that either. Let me hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, so your question is, what SMC are you on right now?
I am not on any of them right now. I'm about to file, right? But I have other things that I'm not rated for that I could file with this, as well as look for increases in mental health, headaches possibly, and lumbar strain possibly. And I have solid evidence to back that up with MRIs and notes from my PCP and mental health fuel.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna lead with this, just so we're on the same page. The definition of poking the bear is this right here.
Yeah, I poked it.
Okay. But you're down it. You're down the road. So I want to make that clear. Looking at your situation, I don't think you're going to have that big of an issue here. The HLR for your mental health is the most important. Okay.
Yeah.
When it comes to SMCs, that will make your life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Given its increase. Okay.
Yeah. It's taking a year to get there.
Because that will give you aid attendance. Because you have that, and then you'll have your sleep apnea, headaches, everything else. Let's go ahead and take a look at SMC L.
And I also have been diagnosed for 5 more items that I could add to that are 2 are pretty hefty and then 3 are light.
When were you connected for? When were you at 100?
2018. I finally filed for mental health and had letters and stuff.
And you're asking for L or L half.
I'm looking to get either 2 in attendance with the groupings of stuff because it's the different body parts, or getting L and then step up with some 50s and some 100s or with that funny math and stuff, right? SMC is a mess.
I'm looking at your stuff, but I'm just gonna ask some questions that might be obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you have any amputations?
No.
What about your eyesight? I don't see anything.
No, that's fine. I don't need the traditional standard stuff. It's all about the needing to actually function. You should see my X-rays, MRIs. It's bad.
Yeah.
So
are you bedridden?
Getting there, just about. It's getting worse every day.
Okay. That is a criteria.
Mm-hmm. Well, for S, for sure. Yeah.
I'm talking about for L. Aid and attend. I'm not worried about S.
Yeah.
You're going to be, because we have to wait on the HLR. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really nothing I can suggest for that. The automatic would be much easier, which is what you would get if the HLR comes through. If not, then you have to look at what is it? Housebound, whatever the other ones. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You can look at that. But if you are getting to being bedridden, you're in L territory anyways. It wouldn't be a bad idea to continue gathering evidence for that and looking at caregiver. Are you looking at caregiver?
My primary care actually told me to look at both programs. That's what triggered this.
Yeah. Okay. You're already doing. Excuse me. You're already doing everything you're supposed to be doing to get there.
Mm-hmm.
It's contingent on caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
And your HLR for your mental health.
Okay.
I hope that helps you, dude. I know it doesn't. I think you already knew that.
Yeah. Should I go ahead? Oh, sorry.
I don't think you should submit for it yet. I think you should continue to gather the evidence and wait for the HLR to come back. That's what I would do. I don't know what kind of dire money situation you're in. If you're not in one, I would wait. Personally, that's what I would do. Saying that, your situation is way worse than most. So you have to make that decision.
Should I file for the chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia that I also got?
Oh, looking at your other claims. Hold on, because we're poking the bear. Okay, I totally skipped over that.
Yeah. So the only reason why I went for increase is I knew for sure I had extra things, so I wasn't worried about mental health dropping because that wasn't going to happen. But even if it did, with my math, I was fine, right? Because I'm way over 100.
Oh, I see that. I see what you did there. Okay. Man, you got it. All right. If poking the bear did not exist and I was to suggest everything you should do, is everything under denied? Is that denied, like even your PACT Act stuff?
No, so the PACT Act, so I did diagnoses for those three, and then I have diagnoses for presumptive for the CFS and fibromyalgia. So 5 items total.
Okay. So the denied is just the reading.
Yeah,
the red.
Yeah, just red. Yeah, and those were from 2013. Except for I didn't have actual evidence. Just went off of what my exit interview went with, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the ED, they tied it to Terra instead of looking at mental health or pills. So that's under HLR right now.
What where have you been deployed to?
It was Persian Gulf and Southeast Asia.
Alrighty. You have diagnosis for rhinitis, sinusitis, and bronchitis?
They have it as rhinosinusitis in my records.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Submit these 3 that you have right here. I would submit chronic fatigue. Have you been diagnosed with that?
Yes, I got that diagnosis back in November, and even though it's not required, my neurologist wrote a massive 3-page letter for with studies for as a Nexus to help battle the OSA stuff, because the VA doesn't like to give both, from my understanding.
On that, I would also look at IBS, supplemental claim. I don't know what your situation is there, but it sounds like you understand what you're doing. I would at least consider it, depending on your evidence. Your COP-D, hold on. How severe is your COP-D?
That one is not diagnosed yet. I'm looking at that stuff. I have a bunch of tests coming up here soon for other things.
If you're not dying from it,
Yeah.
meaning it's super, super severe, and you'll know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about it because it's going to be roped in with sleep apnea and asthma anyways.
Right.
In your situation, there's almost no reason to do that. Same thing with your bronch. You know what I'm talking about? The 6605. I wouldn't worry about that personally.
Okay.
In emphysema, yes.
Yeah, all those are those are I'm looking at still, like they're being tested for. So, yeah.
Yeah, anything below emphysema.
Okay.
If diagnosed, I would submit.
Okay.
I wouldn't even worry about still do healthcare stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
But I would you already connected for sleep apnea and asthma. Those are roped together. And you're already at 100.
Yeah.
100 plus. If you want to.
Yeah. Yeah. You shouldn't poke the bear. I get it. But it's kind of encouraged to, and I had tons of evidence to justify it. Otherwise, I would not have tons and tons of evidence with 10 more claims to back it up.
For fibromyalgia.
Yeah. Does bronchitis tie with asthma? Does it even bother make? I heard that. I've read that if you get they'll tie together, so don't even bother.
Your sleep apnea, your asthma, your COP-D, and your bronchitis. There's different types of bronchitis. I don't know all that, but it will they tie in with respiratory system.
Yeah. Okay. Because I do have OSA and asthma separate, because OSA was from service and asthma was recent, and it's marked as post. Yeah. that was through a Terra thing or whatever, post service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rare.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you have it though.
I'm not. It sucks, but thanks.
No, yeah. I'm saying from my bad.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, you're good.
All right. Do you have any last minute questions? I hope that was something for you. I can tell you just based on how you spoke about what's going on, you're in the right direction. I can tell you that.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank you. Hopefully everybody else isn't confused.
All right. I wish I could show your email, but I don't want to risk it for the biscuit. All right. I'll see you later.
All right. Yep. Bye.
We have 2 more, and then we're pushing out. Okay. So first we have Midwest Man. You there? Okay. Thank you for waiting. I definitely appreciate it. And thanks for being brave for coming on. Let's hop into the questions. What's number 1?
Service of 2002 to 2020.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't hear a single word you just said.
Can you hear me now?
Barely.
How about now?
That is much better. Much better. Okay.
Is it better?
Where are we at? Yep. You're good. You're good.
Oops. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. I'm good. Okay, great. 2002 to 2024. My years of service.
Yeah. Thank you for your service. All right.
Public health service. I don't know if you get very many questions from us.
Was that your MOS?
No, that's my service, United States Public Health Service.
Okay.
We serve underneath the Surgeon General.
All right.
Okay, and then my MOS was medical nursing.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. You're the first person I've ever met.
All right, excellent.
Okay. And you rate VA compensation. Okay.
Yes. I sought help with the DAV, and I'm not complaining about them. I am a little bit, but they did help me out a lot. They did the BDD program, so they submitted before I left service, which was July 2024, and I got my letter in January of this year, 2025, and I got the following ratings: sleep apnea 50%, mental health, depressed mood 30%. Major depressive disorder 30%. Left shoulder osteoarthritis, labrum tear 20%. Left knee patellofemoral pain syndrome is 10%. Right knee patellofemoral pain syndrome is 10%.
Did you say your left knee was 10 or 20?
Left knee was 10%, and also the right knee was 20%.
Okay. 10%. I got it.
Yeah. Fancy word for kidney stone, basically right side 10%. Plantar fasciitis 10%.
Yeah.
Bradycardia heart block 10%. Tinnitus 10%. I did get the erectile dysfunction, but that's no rating. It's just the, SMC. I got that. But I did get hypertension. It says in my letter, it says hypertension was granted with an evaluation of 0%.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get any rating for that. Pulmonary nodules is 0%.
Pulmonary what?
Pulmonary nodules. I have nodules on my lungs.
Yeah.
That was 0%. And then he did put something down for fatigue, but that was denied. Fatigue. So just kind of.
You denied anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. You were going to say something before I said
something. Just an FYI. I don't know if this probably maybe make a difference or not, but when I separated from service, I was 56, so I'm 57 now.
No, you're don't worry about that. You're good.
Okay. And then I was just kind of concerned about my mental health. I thought I'd get rated higher. The CCP exam was done via video, and he kind of made it look. I read some of the evaluation. Didn't get to read all of it. I was with the DAV VSO, and he let me take a peek at it. He said he couldn't print it out for some reason, but it kind of made me look better than what I actually was. It was like a 15-minute exam, so I thought I'd at least get 50% or 70%, hopefully, for my mental health. And then I am on medication. I'm on a mental health medication, but I'm also on medication for my blood pressure. And I thought I'd get at least 10% for blood pressure, because when I went to see my doctor 7 years ago, my blood pressure reading was about 174/99. And my doctor was like, adamantly said, we got to get you on medication, because I had my blood pressure was high for like the whole week. So I was just curious about those two ratings.
Yeah, don't worry. I am definitely going to tell you what that is. Your plantar fasciitis, is it in both feet or one?
My record it's both feet, but my records say I think it's my left or right foot, so it doesn't say both. But
what does your VA disability say?
I don't have my letter in front of me.
Okay, it's fine. I'm just going to assume the answer is no.
Okay.
If it's yes, then it's not. It's just a cherry on top. Okay, so you're at 90, right? Is that correct?
Right. That's correct. 86%, correct.
You're at a bad 90. All right. So bad 90. It's also just one. Because if it was two, it'd be higher. We're gonna go through mental health. Because when did you get out in 24?
July of 2024.
So you're about to hit your 1 year mark. Have you been seeking treatment from July of 24 to right now for mental health?
Yes.
Okay. I would probably I'm debating if you should do an HLR. That's what I want to do, because there's back pay with that versus an increase. Increase is the better answer. Okay. Like if I were you, I think I would do an increase. HLR is the better answer for back pay. You're at 90 though. Hold on. Let me just make sure if back pay would even be possible. So let's take away your 30 and give you 50. Let's take away your 50 and give you 70. So no, it doesn't matter. That's good, which changes my answer to you need to do an increase. Okay.
Okay.
But is HR, Greg, question for you. This is someone in the chat. He's really smart. Don't worry. Is HLR the right answer? Because it wouldn't change his initial rating. Like the back pay wouldn't be awarded anyways. That's my looking at his overall situation. I think increase is the right answer. We'll see what Greg says. I'll update you if he answers. But I don't think back pay, since back pay is not a factor, I think increase is the safest answer. Okay. Because you have current medical evidence, I'm not worried about that. Minimum 50. Okay. Or I shouldn't have said that. I'm not worried about you not having a reason to increase it, I should say. Left shoulder, I would leave that alone. Your knees, I'm curious for range of motion, but you did just get these ratings, so I'm not too particular on looking at a range of motion issue there. You do have instability. Kidney stones, I wouldn't worry about. Plantar fasciitis, this is on one foot, by the way, just based on what we're looking at. I want to show you. This rating is treatment based. So let's just hop on over here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Plantar fasciitis. The only way to get over 10 is to have no relief from both non-surgical and surgical. Okay, so it's on one of your feet, according to what you told me, which is 20. If it's both, it's 30. But it's treatment-based. It's a failure of treatment, right? So there is potential to increase that. That takes time. That's not an overnight thing. I'm sure you know that. You know more about that than I do with your background. But I can tell you, looking at your rating, because you do have a bad 90, it would not be a bad idea to start on that treatment, okay? because the likelihood of you needing everything you need possible to increase the 90 to 100 is pretty high. Hypertension. Your severe readings were a few years ago.
Yeah, about 7 years ago.
I say it this way just for a reason. I'm not trying to come at you or anything. But symptoms years ago don't matter. All right. It's only right now. So if you had those high readings within the year, absolutely, you have a higher rating. Since medication calms your hypertension, or keeps it in check, whatever you want to use there, it's at 0. I will tell you why I'm saying that. Do veterans get shafted that have hypertension? They absolutely do. And you're about to find out why. Okay. Hypertension. Okay, here we go. So this is what you want. This is not, you don't really want it. This is what you want for VA disability. Diastolic at 100 or systolic at 160. That's consecutive. Okay, I think it's 3 readings, I believe. Your medication, the idea of your medication is to make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, that's the point of it. And so you're probably properly rated at 0. Now, if you're not, if you do have higher numbers, especially up here, you need to do an increase for sure, or higher level review on that one. I'm going to guess you don't, which would be a good thing, by the way. But your hypertension medication, is it a diuretic? Is it like amlodipine or something like that?
No, it's an ACE inhibitor, lisinopril.
Does it make you pee?
No, it doesn't. No.
Okay. That's good. If that medication ever, how long have you been on it?
Over 5 years, maybe 6 years.
Okay. Is there any long-term effects to that?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I'm not sure on that one. I know enalapril and amlodipine and a few others pretty intimately. I don't know about that one. I would, at a minimum, do some research on that and just see what some common secondaries are. For diuretics, peeing is one of them. That's a claimable condition, right? So whatever that is for that medication, if any, get a diagnosis and go secondary there. I wouldn't worry about fatigue. So for you, just to be straight up, your mental health increase is absolutely most important because you need a big item to push you to a good 90. You have to have it. That would be 50% at 89. Okay, 70 would be even better at 94. But you absolutely have to have the mental health increase to even look at 100%. Now, you did complain about the DAV, VSO, which is fine. I would also look at anything you did not claim. I can tell you right now, you're on your feet a lot. You said you were a nurse, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You're on your feet a lot. That is a labor-intensive job. Did you ever complain about like your back? I would look at conditions that aren't on here that you complained about, right? Or that you can get a current, you're still within 1 year, you know? Do you have lumbar strain? Yes, no. If not, go get a current diagnosis, submit the claim, right? You're within that window still. And I would look at everything. Basically, anything that hurts that you don't see up here, I would submit a claim for. And I would do it probably tonight or tomorrow.
Okay.
Because you're within your 1 year time frame. Okay. Presumptive is not the case I want to give you the idea of, but I think you have a better argument to submit a claim now versus anywhere else. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. So common conditions that I see that you're not rated for, lumbar strain would be on my list if I were you. Radiculopathy in each leg. I would look at cervical strain. Okay, especially as a nurse, so neck pain. I would look at radiculopathy or nerve damage in your arms, your wrist conditions, if you have any, if you have strains there. Carpal tunnel is a part of that. I know you're on your feet all day. I'm curious if you have flat feet. Okay, if that was up there. VA Claims Insider sucks, by the way. That's a comment. What else would I look at if I were you? Shoulder conditions, right? You already had the left shoulder. I would look at your right shoulder. You have your knees. I think that's what I would do because you're still in that BDD type situation, not claim, but mindset of initial direct claims.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Does that help? I hope it does.
Yeah.
Do you have any last minute questions for me?
Yeah. So I shouldn't say how hard, but if I do the increase for mental health, I'm not familiar with the odds since you do this more than often than I do. What are the odds of getting that higher rating at 50 or 70%? Is it pretty favorable?
That's the wrong question to ask. I'll ask the right question for you.
Sure.
It is, what are my symptoms, and do they rate 50 or 70? That's the question I want to ask. So let's talk about symptoms, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Effective relationships are a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Don't answer this, but if you're married or have kids, your marriage may struggle. Okay, that's an understatement there. You might struggle connecting emotionally with your children, with your spouse, your family, your friends. When I say connecting, I don't mean like sending a text. I'm talking like genuinely making connection, like discipling your son, so to speak, right? Like that type of emotional connection there. That would be a big one I would look at. Frequent panic attacks, frequent episodic depression. Like depression is episodic for a lot of veterans. And so how often are you on the low? And then how often do you stay there? Okay. I would look at migraines as a new claim that's outside of mental health symptoms. But that would add to your symptoms as well. I would also look at irritability. Like how good are you at keeping a lid on your own stuff? Okay. And then looking at some occupational stuff. How are you in the workplace? I'm not sure what you do now if you work at all, but how does your mental health affect your current life?
Mm-hmm.
Based on what you told me in the beginning, I'm willing to bet during your CMP exams, you talked about things that happened a while ago, which was good for service connection, but that horse is gone. It's all about right now, within the year. Okay, within 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Honestly, I have a video on mental health that goes way deeper than what I just said. I'm gonna put it in private chat for you.
Okay.
It is right here, but it really goes into that effective relationship. Okay, so that's right there. There it is. And for the chat, here it is as well. All right. Do you have any last minute questions?
One last question. Recently went to the dentist, and he says I have signs and symptoms of bruxism, grinding in my teeth. Is there any compensation for that? It's kind of iffy on when I look it up. It says about.
It'd be like this. That's what it would be.
Oh, okay. It would be related to mental health. Okay.
Yeah. Now, if you have like TMJ or something, I would submit that. But if it's just bruxism we're talking about, anxiety, which leads me to more frequent panic attacks. Okay. That would be a good thing to bring up. Yeah, I would look at that.
Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for waiting. I definitely appreciate that.
No problem. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. And our last one for the evening. My wife is so going to be mad at me. We have Brandon. Brandon, what's up? Can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah. Thanks for staying.
Yeah, no worries, dude. Thank you for waiting. Let's hop right into this. Where are we at?
U.S. Army, 93 through 96.
Yeah.
11 Bravo.
Nice. Okay.
Nice, if you say so.
I enjoy speaking with infantry people.
Yeah. Okay. So I applied for disability in 2011. I got denied in 2015 for left and right knees and depression. I applied again last year. I had several conditions on here. Everything got denied. But instead of doing depression, the company I hired, they did it under PTSD, which I don't think I have. So I think that's why it was denied. I definitely have depression, anxiety, stress.
Can you, if you want to share, can you tell me what company that was?
Yeah. What's the name of them? They're out of Florida.
Is it Veterans Guardian? Or I'm sorry, Florida is. They just passed that law, by the way, in Florida. Okay, I got it. Is it? I got it. It's red. I understand. Telemedica. They changed their name. Did they change their name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, it's that one. They had different names, so it's escaping me. Okay, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. You were denied for everything. What was that for?
Although they wrote a pretty good letter for the PTSD and wrote a pretty good one for the knees, I thought, but I still got denied on the knees. Okay, for the conditions was left and right knee condition, diabetes, which my diabetes is probably pre-diabetes.
Okay.
Erectile dysfunction, gastro reflux disease, headaches, hearing loss, left and right ear, tinnitus, which I don't think I'm going to go for hearing loss or tinnitus this time because I don't think that really applies to me. Hypertension. What is this one? Lumbar scrawl strain.
Yep.
Sleep apnea. Urinary frequency. Voiding dysfunction.
Yep.
Major depressive disorder.
Yep.
Well, they changed it to PTSD though. So they all got denied in February. So what I want to do is I want to tie everything to mental health. Mental health caused me a lot of weight gain. Depression did. And I know you don't get rated for weight gain, but it is considered.
Yeah.
So, and most of my other problems can be tied back to mental health and weight gain. Because I have arthritis, which is affecting my knees. Right. The sleep apnea is from weight gain, most likely. And I want to do the sleep apnea before they lower the rate.
Right. Okay. Let's roll back. I just want to clarify something here. Are you service connected for anything?
No.
Okay. All right. And I'm going to assume you're stateside?
I was stationed in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Then I did a 1 month mission in Panama. And then I went to South Korea for about a year.
Okay. All right, dude. Lots of denials. I really want to help you more than most just because you are not connected for anything and you were in the infantry. To me, that matters.
Oh, and I'm also willing to go to Columbus with you.
Well, just so you know, I'm waiting on a word from their national person if the VA is going to supply raters for that. So for everyone watching right now, all the DRP programs and the war on federal employees, the VA does not know if they're going to send raters to the claim clinic. So there might not be a claim clinic.
Okay.
I know that's not what you wanted to hear, but just.
Well, I might have to do it before August anyway because of the sleep apnea thing.
Yeah. So question or not really a question. You're not connected for anything. That makes things a lot
harder. I know.
In addition to, and I'm just going to state some facts here. We're talking almost a 30-year time gap. Okay.
Yep.
This is hard. This is difficult. You're in a bad spot. I know you know that. I'm just wanted to verbally say it. You absolutely need to look at why you were denied for everything. I would not have recommended going with the company on an initial claim. That kind of worries me a little bit. And that's why the validity of the Florida company, it's like Telemedica or Trajectory or whatever.
Trajectory.
They're submitting initial claims. And I'm going to assume you don't have your medical records from service.
I only went to sick call one time at the very end.
Yeah. So that's for everyone watching right now. If you ever want a red flag company, if they're submitting initial direct claims without evidence from service, that's a red flag.
That company was terrible. The only good thing about it was the Nexus letter they wrote for me for mental health.
Yeah, but they didn't have your evidence from service.
Right.
So even if it was good, it was not good. Okay. That's the nice way to say it. The only thing that makes it good is actual evidence.
Yeah.
Now,
I can get a buddy letter from my brother and my mom from the time I was in service.
Yep. So, it's not okay. I'm painting the picture of uphill battle, but don't give up. Okay.
Okay.
No matter what, don't give up. I need to state that it's always important to know where you're at so you can figure out what's next. So you went to sick call one time.
Yeah.
When you got out, talk to me about that day. What did you complain about? Did you do a final physical?
It was my stomach. They thought I might have had pancreatitis. They didn't do anything though. But really what it was is backed up stool.
Yeah. Did you have, IBS is on my mind. I can tell you right now, irritable bowel syndrome is the only thing you have evidence for. That's on my list to submit. You're going to want a current diagnosis, just heads up. Absolutely do that. Is that you, honey? Get a current diagnosis, that's on my list. But with that said, I would look at every single thing you claimed here. Look at why you were denied. It's probably because you don't have in-service events. Try to fill that gap. That is going to be super, 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 super hard.
Well, I think I need to fill the gap for the mental health first.
Yeah, talk to me.
And then,
so that's going to be a big one. Were you diagnosed with PTSD?
No. But I have been diagnosed with major depressive disorder, anxiety, and I take medication for it. I see a psychiatrist every 2 months.
Yeah. When were you diagnosed?
There's been a few times. There was in Seattle, maybe about the year 2012 or something. There was a time before that, but I don't know who the doctor was now. And then this doctor I'm seeing now, I've been seeing since 2022.
Yeah. Did the company you used, did they submit that evidence as part of their letter?
No.
Okay, that's actually in your favor. It wasn't then, but it is now. So you have evidence, okay? I think and that's all private. I'm assuming it's private.
No, when I got diagnosed in 2012, that was from the VA.
Okay, so they did use that. And when did you submit your claim for mental health?
Oh, I did it in 2011, and then did it again last year.
Okay. What would I do if I were you? What from service caused your depression?
The people I worked with, they would bully me, threaten me, tie me up. My team leader never promoted me in 2 years. They just gave me a really hard time and even threatened to kill me.
Have you discussed that with your providers?
I think I did with my psychiatrist, and I told the CMP examiner that too.
Yeah. Let me tell you what I hear, okay? I hear you have a fear-based PTSD claim. Looking at bullying, looking at being threatened, especially in that environment. No one understands the imagery unless you've been there, okay?
Yeah.
That environment is not, people don't play around. What you just said to me, and I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm a dude in my basement, that is fear-based PTSD claim. The reason that matters is because for VA disability claims, that changes a lot, okay? With where you are at and how you self-reported to me, I would go fear-based PTSD route, completely forget trajector. Whatever their good Nexus letter was written, wouldn't even worry about it.
Okay.
I would really look at the fear-based issue. I would talk about that, get some evidence for it, and submit a supplemental claim. I hate to say this, dude, but I think that is your best course of action because your evidence from service is basically non-existent.
Right.
And we need, yeah, got tracking Greg and Kish. You need something from service to hinge a claim on. And in my opinion, PTSD is the way. IBS is on there too, because you had that complaint.
Yeah. Well, IBS is when you have to go to the bathroom right away or something.
So it's there's like constipation,
Okay.
IBS-C. There's IBS where you're just going number 2 like 6 times a day and like you're bleeding at that point. It varies. But you have a complaint about it. If you can get currently diagnosed, that would help don't submit the claim without being diagnosed. We're talking 30-year time gap here.
Okay.
And I see Kish and I see Greg. I still think for this veteran situation, the fear base is the way to go. I understand presumption on that personal trauma. Got it. But at least to me, looking at in-service stressors, like the veteran doesn't really have anything else to kind of hinge a claim on.
So
that's what I would do. I know
the condition would be called fear-based PTSD.
It would be a supplemental claim on PTSD with new and relevant evidence. Okay, so you need to speak with your psychiatrist or your healthcare person now, because you said you've been seeing them since 22.
Yeah, at the VA.
Them about things that happen from service and your symptoms, right? So, for instance, someone who sincerely felt threatened. You might have reoccurring thoughts. You might have anxiety. You might be a small symptom. You don't want to have any confrontation when a waiter or waitress messes up your order, right? You would rather avoid, hey, come over here. You would rather avoid confrontation, right? Like little things like that. I am reaching, but I do think you fall in that bucket. That's what I would do if I were you personally.
Okay. And should I file the sleep apnea at the same time?
In your situation, I would not. If you were connected for something,
then I won't get it before August.
No. So you're okay. You're here. I'll show you a comment. Kish said, Kish is a VA rater. He says, if they train us, Clay will know. He'll get a video out. Before rating change happens, they have to train the raters. So although the Fed Reg proposes August, it's not going to be August because the raters haven't been trained. I know that because Kish is a rater. Okay. So it's going to be kicked back till when? I don't know. I'm going to guess next year. So don't think of time frames. I am more concerned about you being connected at 50% or higher first to get free healthcare than I am anything else, just to be honest with you.
Okay.
The any complaints in service with the current diagnosis is what I would submit. And I would really hammer out what happened to you in service.
Yeah.
And really, really, really fight a PTSD claim. That's what I would do if I were you, dude.
Okay.
You are, I know you know this, but you're not in the best shape for VA disability claims.
Yeah, I definitely know. I mean, that's why I hadn't applied sooner, because they said, oh, you never went to sick call, then you're not going to get approved. So that's why I never tried to apply before.
I hate leaving on this note, but that is all I have for you without looking at the decision letters and getting really personal here. I hope that helps, dude.
Okay. Sorry. How do I get the C&P exam decisions?
That would
the letters.
The easiest way would be to go through a VSO and request that specifically. Or do through your regional office. The longest way would be a FOIA request.
Oh, no.
If I'm you, I'm requesting my C file. Okay. You have nothing to lose. Okay. I would get your C file personally, and I'm going to change my recommendation actually. Because if I'm sincerely going to put myself in your shoes, I would get a lawyer. Your lawyer can pull up your C file on anything they want right now. You have tons of denials. They're going to want to review your case. That's what I would do if I were you personally.
Get a lawyer?
I would get a VA attorney. I think in your situation, you are in a spot where the answer is yes.
You got any recommendations?
Kind of. Andy Gross. Actually, here. Let's do this together. There's no partnership here. He's just a good dude. He rebranded his, there it is. Guide on Legal. Out of Maryland. You can do remote, don't worry. Guide on Law. I'll put this in private chat for you here. That's who I would look at. For that, and I'm really recommending that because you're in a bad spot. You need some genuine, sincere help.
Yeah.
All right. I hope that helps, dude. I know the lawyer is what I would do, so that does help. But do you have any other questions?
No. If you want to keep in contact with me, I put my email in there.
All right. Shoot me an email. And if it's a big emergency, I see it right
What's
there.
your email?
It's clay.sims@civdivonline.com. I'll put that down too. Lila, come here. Come say hi. Come here. Come here. All right. That's all I got, dude. I'm going to let you go, okay?
All right. Thanks, man. See ya.
Yep. All right. That is, hold on. Come say hi. Come say hi. Let's see. You poop? Yeah. I'll change you. Look, come say hi, just real quick. Watch. Look up there. Who is that?
Dad.
Yeah. All right. Listen, y'all. That was a really long live. That was not the plan. I don't think there's a quick way to do these one-on-ones. If you want a one-on-one like that for free, you have to join the Discord. That's where people hop on the one-on-one first. Okay. If you want our service to go through your claims, it will be like that, but way more in depth, private, and on steroids. You can email Clayton at ebvaclaims.com. Just so you know, it's a claim company. You're going to get mad, boo-hoo, hate it, I don't care. $13.99. It's going to go over this, exactly what we did here today, but way more in depth. And we're going to look at decision letters and do everything. Okay? So there it is, Clayton at ebvaclaims.com. If you don't like that we do that, I don't care, just so you know. All right? If you want serious, genuine help, shoot the email. If not, whatever. Can you say bye-bye? What? Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye.